Hey there, you are listening to the Small Fish Big Podcast, the entrepreneurship podcast that helps small brands develop the skills they need to grow. Full of strategy, tips and advice, honest chat, and inspiring small business stories from other entrepreneurs just like you. I'm your host, Rhiannon Louden, brand and content strategist, brand photographer, and proud small business owner. I'm also a mom, a wife, and a travel, coffee, and donut addict. And I created this podcast to help bring small businesses together, to help entrepreneurs feel connected, and to share actionable information that you can use to achieve your business goals. If you're tuning in for the first time today, thanks so much for listening in. And if you are a regular listener, thank you for the support. It would be a huge help to me in growing this podcast if you could take a moment to leave a quick review. You can do that on Apple Podcasts by searching Small Fish Big Pod and scrolling down to the review section. And make sure you click subscribe to be the first to know when new episodes air. And now on to today's episode. Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Small Fish Big Podcast. I'm your host Rhiannon Louden, and today I wanted to talk to you about why business owners should take a break and how to do it. I don't think it's any secret that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle to take a proper break, whether that is sticking to working hours and turning the laptop off in the evening, taking full weekends off, or heaven forbid, planning a holiday. For a lot of us as small business owners, we are our entire business. Some of us might have a few staff. Some people might have freelancers or be working with others on contract to cover specific areas of their business. But for most of us, if we take a weekend or a week or a couple of weeks off, that means that there is no one there physically doing the things that we normally do. And that is really, really hard to sort of let go, especially when it's your own business. Your business is your baby. You've put your heart and soul into it. It's really, really tough to allow yourself to take a break, even when you know that you need it. Now, I'm going to be totally honest here and own up to the fact that I have never been very good at at taking a break. I definitely do not stick to my work hours all the time. I am slowly getting better at it, but I would be lying if I said that I didn't often work into the evening. It is currently 8:20 on a Wednesday night, and I am just starting to record this podcast episode, so I'm definitely working past my normal working hours today. And I find it really, really hard to take a full weekend off without sneakily checking my emails or looking to see who's messaged me. I find it especially hard to do that when I take a longer holiday, whether it's a long weekend or recently I took a full week off. I went with my husband and my daughter and my dog up north, and we spent a few days in the Black Isle and then the Cairngorms, and I decided before I went that I was really going to take a proper break this time. I wasn't going to check social media every day and make sure that I was engaging and, answer every email as it came in. I put an out of office in on my email. I put a note on my social media account letting everybody know what I was up to, and other than sharing a couple of stories to let people kind of see my travels and see what I was up to with my camera, I really did not engage at all. I did not schedule any posts for while I'm gone. I'll talk a little bit more about why I did things that way later. And I took a proper break. And you know what? When I came back, my business was still there. So I thought it would be interesting to do an episode about this. I did a social media post about it earlier this week, and loads of people commented on it to say that they also struggled to take a break, that it was something they were working on. Some people said they couldn't remember when the last time they took a holiday was. And so I thought this would be a great topic for a bite-sized podcast episode. This is a short episode. I'm going to try and keep it to about 15 minutes. So it's a quick listen, and I'm going to talk about why taking a break is important, the challenges of taking a break as an entrepreneur, and why, most of us find it so difficult. And then I'm going to share a step-by-step plan of how to actually do it. So how to plan ahead for your holiday, or to have that better work-life balance, and how to stick to it when the time actually comes for you to start your break. So I did look up a couple of stats here, and I wanted to share one with you before we really delve into the content of today's episode. So On Deck did a study about how many small business owners, entrepreneurs actually take a break every year. Now, I don't know what the parameters were. They don't go into the details. So I don't know if they mean, took a break without checking email or without, logging into the laptop. But they found that only 57% of entrepreneurs take a vacation annually. And to be honest, that doesn't surprise me. Now, they'll probably be looking at, large businesses and medium businesses as well, not just solopreneurs. But think about the last time that you took an actual vacation. So that means no checking emails, no engaging on social media. You actually checked out for a full week or 2 weeks or whatever the length of time is. For a lot of us, it's hard to remember a time that we've ever done that. Some people I think are better at this than others, but I do think the longer that you're in business, it's kind of a catch-22, because the longer you're in business, the more you understand the importance of taking a break. But as your business grows and you get busier and busier, it becomes harder to allow yourself that time off. Right, so first things first, why is it important to take a break? So let's start with the obvious one. We are human beings and we need to take a break. We can't just work 24/7. We all need a balance between life and work. We all need downtime. For some of us more than others, it's a big part of our mental health, our well-being. I know that some people can maybe deal with a little bit more on the working side of things. Some people might need a little bit more downtime, but we all need some. And it's really easy to put our needs last, especially when we run our own business. And I think it's so important to remember that it's not selfish to practice self-care, whether that is shutting your laptop at a certain time in the evening, whether that's taking weekends off, whether that's going on a holiday a few times a year and taking a real break. It's something that we all need, and it doesn't only benefit us and the people around us, children, partners, friends, family, it also benefits our business. It's really important to remember that our business is only as good as we are. So if you are overworked and exhausted and stressed out, chances are you're not going to feel very positive about work. You're probably not going to be in a very creative place. You're probably not thinking about big picture stuff because you're so caught up in the day-to-day. And that's not going to be good for your business either. So if you ever catch yourself feeling guilty for taking some time to yourself or for allowing yourself that downtime, and you shouldn't, because we all need it and we all deserve it. But if you are feeling guilty, try and remind yourself that it's important for your business. It's not just for you, it's for your business as well. I think it's also really important for the people around us. So for our friends, for our colleagues, for our families, you can't support the people that you care about if you're not in a very good place yourself. So again, anytime that you start feeling selfish for wanting to take that break, it's not just about you, it's not just about your business, it's also about the people around you. And statistically, it's been shown time and time again that overworking does not lead to more productivity. It does not lead to more happiness. I read a really interesting article in the Harvard Business Review, and I'll actually share it in the show notes in case you want to check it out. It's not a super long read, but they share a lot of the research that's been found in various studies. I think most of them done in America, but there might be a few further afield as well. And the statistics pretty much all show that people that work 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week, they're not actually any more productive. That when you start working that many hours, more mistakes get made, burnout happens, chances are you're not being as productive with your time. As human beings, we just can't work that much. We're not wired for that, and we do need that better balance. There was also a really interesting point in there about sleep. So if you are, maybe working a lot of late nights, or even if you're not working into the late hours of the night, maybe your mind is worrying because you didn't get as much done as you thought you should that day. And so you don't have a good sleep, or you struggle to fall asleep. So the statistic says that your performance will drop off in direct correlation with your lack of sleep. So the less you sleep, the worse your performance gets in your job. And they also spoke about people who they termed the sleepless elite. So we all know someone who claims that they can function just as well on, less than 5 or less than 6 hours of sleep as most people function on 8, and it doesn't affect them at all, and they're just as happy and they're just as productive at work. But studies show that that just isn't true. And one of the studies that they share in the article says that for every 100 people who would count themselves in that small population of the sleepless elite, only 5 of them actually are. So there are a few people who seem to be able to function just as well and be just as productive on that low level of sleep, but it is a very, very small portion of the population. So chances are it's not you or I. The other thing that I wanted to point out here is that it's not just about taking a break and taking care of yourself and you being in a good place physically and mentally to run your business. It's also about what happens when we remove ourselves from the day-to-day. So when you change your surroundings and then when there's a little bit of a separation between yourself and your work, it sort of opens your mind to new ideas. It gives you a little bit of perspective, especially if you're on holiday somewhere new, even if that's just an hour or two away from where you live. You're going to experience different things. You're going to try new things. You're going to get into different routines, meet different people. All of these things add perspective. And yes, that works in your personal life, but it applies to your business as well. You might come up with an idea. You might see another business, while you're on holiday doing something amazing that you could apply to your own business. You might meet somebody who inspires you to try something new. It opens up all these new opportunities. And even if you aren't sitting there thinking about work, you might find that when you come back, your perspective on your business has actually changed a little bit. And that's important. So removing yourself from the day-to-day and your work environment can make all the difference in offering you a little bit of perspective on not just life, but on your business. So I think we could probably come up with a big giant list of reasons why it's important to take a break. But I think those are 3 really good key points. We need to take care of ourselves in order for our business to prosper. Business is only as good as you are. Distance creates perspective, both in your personal life and your business life. And I think it really always does translate back into business. And having that quality time with friends and family, that real downtime, that's something that we all need as human beings. The challenges, though, of taking a break as an entrepreneur are, I think, what puts most people off. So I probably didn't have to do much to convince you that it's important, but, that's all good and well to say that we should take a break, but how do we actually put that into action when there are so many challenges to face first? I know for me, the biggest challenge is if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. So I do have a couple of people that work for me sort of on contract as freelancers, helping with some of my website and tech stuff. I'm looking at bringing a VA in to help me with some of my admin work. But essentially, when it comes down to the bare bones of what I do, the work I do for clients, the marketing that I'm doing, that is all something that if I don't get it done, the tasks set on the to-do list. And it's really, really hard to take a break when you know that. You either have to plan ahead or you have to get somebody to fill in for you. If you have a business with a few staff, that might be a little bit easier to do. But if you are a solopreneur, it can be especially difficult to let go. You might also worry about losing out on business. So inquiries come in while you're on holidays. You've probably set up an out of office, but there's always that worry that if you do not respond quickly enough, they will go with someone else. I'll share an example about that. I'll share an example of that with you as we move into the sort of tips for overcoming these things. And I think the third reason that a lot of business owners shared is that they're worried about what happens if they disappear off social media. This is really interesting to me because I think even 10 years ago, this wouldn't have been a concern for anybody, but now we all hear all about how the algorithm and, we need to keep up with our content. And if we don't post and we don't engage, we'll lose followers or we'll lose engagement on our posts. And it can be really scary to take a break from social media. I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people who seem to be online constantly. Anytime I go scroll through my feed, the same people have liked every post. you have friends that maybe you sent them a WhatsApp message and you don't hear back from them for a day or two, but you can tell that they've spent their entire day on Instagram. People get really addicted to it, and it's difficult when you hear constantly about being consistent and showing up and engaging and how social media is social and we all need to hang out on there. It's really hard then to allow yourself time off at the weekend, or even more difficult, a week or a 2-week long holiday where you do not go on social media at all. What if you lose followers? What if you have